Some of us live where blizzards sometimes make life so miserable you can hardly walk straight. But the snow is only the beginning. Out comes the sun, which melts the ice, creating ice dams and huge icicles on your roof. The ice can cause damage inside the house, rip off gutters, and create other problems.
The most common scenario is the ice melt coming off of the roof, refreezing on the walkways, and then that creates a hazard of, going out and slipping. And that's probably the biggest concern that most people have with it, let alone the destruction to your home.
One remedy has been heating cables installed in a zigzag pattern on overhangs.
The problem with the cables is that it's only going to heat the area immediately around it.
As you can see, it doesn't always work. In our house in Northeast Ohio, we've tried every remedy for the 20 years we've lived here. Not one has worked well. So here's our problem. We've got this roof up here. When it snows, that snow melts and then it refreezes right on that gutter up there. It creates these big ice dams, and icicles can hang off, and that all kind of drips down on the walkway. Not a good thing to have when you have people walking in and out. We decided to try a relatively new product called gutter cap and heater cap. The system comes in two parts. One is a metal covering for your gutters that keeps leaves out. The problem is those can make your gutters more prone to icing.
With gutter protection, it's created a lot more awareness because people see the icicles sooner now. It's one of those things that you're damned if you do and damned if you don't with the leaves.
So on to that second part, a heating element consisting of a specially designed cable and a dispersing plate. These must be professionally installed by people who are trained to do it. First, the installer runs the heating cable through the gutter. Then the installer pries loose the second row of shingles. Since the gutter cap, the leaf protection, will take the place of the first row of shingles to give it a very clean look. The gutter cap is slipped under the shingles and screwed into place. Next, the heating cable is laid on top of the gutter cap. On top of that goes the heat dispersing plate with an inverse groove to hold the cable. The heating cable is run down the downspout so it can take any melted ice away.
The thing you have to be careful about is you want to make sure that the ice is melted until it leaves the home or, gets in a situation to where it can be properly drained away. Because otherwise you're just moving an ice bank from one section to another section.
The installer cuts a hole in the side of the downspout near its base where the cable will come out and eventually be hardwired to the home's electrical box. Finally, the installer then cuts end caps so birds and squirrels won't take up residence in this nice, cozy gutter. It happened to be raining the day these were installed, giving me a chance to see how the gutter cap handles rain.
The gutter protection had roof granule finish on it. It blends in beautifully with the home, and the roof granules, they also slow down the flow of water rather dramatically.
Next, the electricity has to be hooked up. This is done by an electrician trained to do this type of installation. First, appropriate circuit breakers are installed in the electrical panel with proper amperage ratings, a ground fault interrupt which should trip if there are any problems, and an equipment protection device.
The reason that you do that is because when you first turn it on, you have a power surge. If you didn't have that EPD on there, then you would get nuisance tripping. And you wouldn't want to have that type of situation because you want to, once you turn it on, you want to know that it's going to stay on.
Next, after drilling a hole for access to the newly installed electrical wires, the installer puts in a junction box, runs flexible conduit to the box, and wires the two together with everything watertight. Flip on the breaker and wait for the snow. As you can see, the heated plate on the gutter cap immediately melts it, preventing big icicles from forming. One question asked most is what the cost is.
Most people are usually doing just over a walkway and, going from the garage into the house, and depending on the size of the walkway, typical homeowner is probably going to pay around $2,000 to have that done.
The gutter cap company recommends leaving the system on through the winter months, and you will see your electrical bill go up.
Typically, and I figured this out for like a 200-foot section, which is probably more the extreme, you're talking about 2,100 hours, so figure about 3 months or so. So you're talking around $250 to $300 a season. The less you have, the less it's going to cost.
So is a system like this worth it?
My father, before he had it, he went out to get the newspaper one day, slipped on his butt. I think he was like 65 years old at that point in time. $40,000 medical bill and 3.5 months in rehabilitation. So, it's definitely a lot less expensive that way. And not only that, but if someone slips and falls and they sue you, well.
After weeks of testing the gutter cap with heater cap, it has worked very well. Not only has it been stopping the big icicles from forming, no ice has been backing up behind it, and the walkway below has very little ice buildup either. No, it's not the cheapest solution on the block, but it seems to solve a problem that's plagued snowy climates ever since snow met roof. I'm Scott Newell.